We made it to the Eastern Sierra!
If you missed our last couple of videos, we've been spending the last month in the Southwest road tripping through part of northern and southern Utah, plus accomplishing a bucket list backpacking trip at Havasu Falls. And for the next 2 months, we're going to be exploring California's Sierra Nevada mountains, a mountain range on the eastern side of the state that is full of epic peaks, alpine lakes, hot springs, unique rock formations, small towns, and so much more. We have spent a little bit of time in this area many years ago with a quick trip to Yosemite, but we haven't explored much else and we cannot wait. There are so many places in this region that we have been dying to visit, and I cannot think of a better place to spend some of the glorious summer months than in these mountains. And to kick things off, we're heading to Bishop.
Bishop may be a small town, but it has quite the grand backdrop with the towering peaks of the Sierras just miles away. And because of this, it is an outdoor paradise with amazing hikes, climbing, and fishing, which I took part in the other day. But besides the outdoors, we hear there's a famous bakery in town that we must try.
This magical place is Erick Schat's Bakery, which is an institution here in Bishop. I read that in 2021 they had 2.5 million visitors and that they bake 25,000 loaves of bread every single day, which is more than 6 times the population of the town. The outside has this European design to it and the inside is loaded with endless baked goods. Seriously, everywhere you look in here is just something delicious. I don't know how we're gonna pick what we wanna get. I wanna get it all, and some of it is huge. Like, we can't get this for ourselves, but I want to.
I am so overwhelmed in here. My eyes are like glazed over. All right, we got what we think is a strawberry Danish, an apple fritter, which is my absolute favorite donut, and then they're especially known for their sheep herder bread, which was introduced to the area during the California Gold Rush by Basque immigrants who missed their home country's bread. So we got a ham sandwich that comes on the sheep herder's bread. I saw this monstrosity in the counter there. I knew I had to get it. It was calling my name. Look at this thing. It's so delicious looking. Oh my gosh. Holy smokes. Best one I've ever had.
Whoa.
That is so soft and so, you know it, pillowy. Look at that thing. You can see it's loaded with chunks of apple. You can see all the sugar on the outside, but then the bread isn't too sweet, so it's a perfect balance of sweetness and not sweet, and then little pops of the apple in there. That is ridiculous. Best one I've ever had. Oh my God.
We got to try Danish pastries in Denmark recently, so we've had the real thing. So let's see how this one compares. It's a different style than the one that we had in Copenhagen, so I can't really compare them, but I love the jam in there. It just gives it a delicious pop of freshness and kind of like sweetness, but a little bit of a tang to it. Just gooiness, and that strudel dough.
Upon first impression, this bread is so soft.
You can tell you're trying not to say pillowy right now.
I don't know if I can drop 2 in one scene. Dude, that's some good bread. Holy crap. The bread, I mean, it kind of just tastes like bread, but again, it's so soft there and then it's crispy on the outside. Man, we couldn't justify getting a whole loaf because it was literally like this big, but after biting into it, I'm kind of reconsidering. It's really good. Man, we are going up in elevation right now. Bishop sits at about 4,100 feet and we're on our way to the ancient Bristlecone pine forest, and it sits at about 10,000 feet. Brisket got its workout in this morning.
The ancient Bristlecone pine forest is home to bristlecone pines, which are the oldest living tree in the world, with many over 4 4,000 years old, which is older than the Egyptian pyramids. And to experience some of them, we're gonna hike the 1 mile Discovery Trail.
These trees are crazy how twisted they are. They only grow in altitudes between 5,600 and 11,200 feet, and apparently the higher elevation they're in, the more intense weather they endure, which is one of the reasons why they have such a gnarly shape. Another reason is because the tree's roots die. When the roots become exposed, the part of the tree directly connected to those roots will dry out and die, while the remainder of the tree will continue to live.
This area is home to a tree named Methuselah, which is said to be the oldest named individual tree on planet Earth at 4,853 years old. There is a trail here named after it that you can hike, and that's supposedly where it is, but they don't actually tell you its exact location. That way, no one tries to harm it or damage it. So, for all we know, they're tricking people, and it's actually on this trail. So maybe that's Methuselah. Maybe that's Methuselah. Who knows?
We're gonna explore more of Bishop and north of Bishop later in the summer when the snow melts a bit more. But for now, we're gonna head south on Highway 395. And just down the road is said to be one of the best barbecue places in all of California. So you know we gotta pop in and try it.
We are at Copper Top BBQ, and this place is pretty awesome. We have mountain views over there, and then right back here you can see all their smokers and grills and watch them work. And while they have some of your usual barbecue suspects, they are specifically known for their tri-tip, which is a very popular cut of beef here in California, so much so that it's called California's cut. We tried it before in San Luis Obispo and loved it, and we are so excited to try it again because it's not something that we see very often on the menu at barbecue spots.
All right, we're keeping things simple. We got a pound of tri-tip and then some mac and cheese. Oh man, it smells so good and smoky. Looks perfectly grilled there. There's just enough fat in there to keep it juicy and moist.
Brisket is still my absolute favorite type of barbecue, but this is definitely second place for me.
How creamy this mac and cheese is. Wow. Good and peppery. I feel like there's a little bit of smoke flavor in there too. Macaroni is like perfectly like al dente. It's not too soft. It's super creamy, all that cheese in there. So let's say you're driving by late at night, early in the morning, and you got a hankering for barbecue. Don't worry, they got you covered. They have a 24-hour barbecue vending machine. This is a genius idea. I've never seen anything like this. They've got pounded tri-tip, they've got a s'mores kit, beef jerky, half rack of ribs, brownies, drinks, Red Bulls, barbecue sauce, chips. I need one of these in my house one day.
That's called a kitchen in an actual house.
That's right.
Or a pantry,
I'm
where
just
you
making
store
myself.
all of these things.
This is so unique. We gotta get some tri-tip for the road. Oh, baby. Woohoo!
This is exactly why we wanted to spend 2 months out here. I mean, does it get much better than this? If we're being honest, the last month and a half on the road has probably been the best and the happiest we have ever been in the van.
Being out west is just the best. The West is the best.
West is the best.
All the places we've been, all the amazing places we got to stay, all the boondocking, the weather has been working in our favor. We've had so much sun, so our power has been excellent. The Starlink's been working great. Everything's just been going so smoothly and just happy.
Very, very, very happy.
Today we're heading to the Alabama Hills, which is an area near Lone Pine that's been on our California bucket list for years. It's been the filming location for tons of TV shows and movies. So before we head out there to see the scenery for ourselves, we're gonna check out the Museum of Western Film History. Some of the famous movies that have been filmed in the Alabama Hills are Django Unchained, Gladiator, Iron Man, Tremors, and How the West Was Won. The museum has a short film you can watch to learn all about the film history out here.
Many Lone Pine residents worked for the movie companies and support industries.
Plus tons of props and costumes. Look how massive these projectors are. These are drive-in movie theater projectors. This thing is huge.
I think my favorite part about the museum is just seeing all of these projectors and the old cameras because they really help you get a grasp at just how much technology has advanced. You can now get a projector that is the size of a book, and I'm currently holding a camera that is way, way, way smaller than the ones they used to use.
I haven't seen many of the old movies that have been filmed out here, but I have seen many of the new ones, and this museum is much more interesting than I thought it would be. Seeing all these old cars and memorabilia and movie posters, it's really making me want to go watch some of these old ones.
And I haven't really seen any movies ever filmed out here. Adam always is giving me a hard time. He always will ask, have you seen this movie? And I'm like, no. And he's like, come on. So I think tonight we're gonna change that and watch one of them.
I actually have seen this movie recently, High Sierra. I was just flipping through the channels and I turned to Turner Classic Movies and it happened to be on and I caught the second half of it. And this is the actual car from the movie. That is so cool. Howdy, little horsey. This is so cool. I feel like I'm driving onto a movie set. Where's Robert Downey Jr.? Where's Humphrey Bogart?
The contrast of the scenery out here is so neat. You have this desert-like terrain with all these giant boulders and rocky formations, and then the jagged and sharp snow-capped Sierras right behind them, including Mount Whitney, the highest point in the lower 48 at 14,505 feet. We had hoped to summit Mount Whitney this summer, and we tried to get permits, but we were denied, so unfortunately it's not going to happen this year, but we are going to keep trying every single year because it is probably the #1 hike that I want to do in the US.
Our hope is to camp out here, but over the last few years they've really cracked down on dispersed camping and you have to camp in a designated site, and there aren't a lot of options and it's really popular out here, so we're not sure if we're going to get one, but we're sure going to try. Kind of tricky to find these spots. They're tucked in between all these little rocks here, and you have to park in the ones that have like the little camp symbol, and you can't see them from the road, so you got to get down in here and really start digging. So there is a map online that we're using to help us find the site, but it's a lot trickier than I thought it would be. All right, we found a spot. We actually found two, but this was the better of the options. And for context, we're here on a Tuesday around noon, and a lot of the good spots were taken, but there's still a handful of options.
According to Google Maps, this is Lone Ranger Canyon, and just back in there is where the famous Lone Ranger ambush scene took place.
There are a lot of cool things to see around here, like different arches and rock formations. And since we don't want to lose our spot, we're gonna bike to go check them out. This is our first washboardy and sandy road we've ever ridden on. Oh, you know, driving around here earlier, I thought this bike ride was gonna be pretty easy. But man, combination with the sandy road and the up and down of the hills, it's pretty tough. Catherine crushing it up that hill. This hill was tough for the van.
Oh my gosh. That hill was so hard. Oh my. After a very tough ride, we have made it to our first stop, which is a spot from Iron Man.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to Jericho. I think that's what happens.
For your consideration, the Jericho.
All right, we made it to the Cyclops Skull Arch.
It really reminds me of Joshua Tree National Park out here. It's just one big giant rocky playground with all these big tan boulders everywhere. And this formation right here kind of reminds me of the Skull Rock at Joshua Tree. But we're now on the hunt to find a rock formation that supposedly looks like two boots.
Correction, we thought the rocks were two boots leaning together, but once you get here, you actually see that it's the gap underneath the rocks that look like a boot. All right, we're starting our journey back towards the van. We still have one more stop, but to get back to it, we gotta go up this big steep hill.
Oh man, Alabama hills is right. Emphasis on the hills.
Yeah, I guess that would have been a good realization for me earlier when I thought this was gonna be easy. The place is actually named Hills.
And for our final stop, we're gonna check out the Mobius Arch. What's really neat about this arch is that at the perfect angle, you can see Mount Whitney right through it. We did it.
We did about 11.3 miles, but boy, with this heat, it felt like much longer. Let me tell you, we smell good.
I am so thankful that we have an AC in this van and a fridge with cold water.
All right, it's Taco Tuesday, so we're making some carne asada tacos. You just dropped something.
Get away, get away. That cheese skirt that we added gives it a little bit of like crunchy cheese texture, but also gooey cheese texture. Heard that crunch.
Taco. As we were riding around today, I kept thinking about all the famous actors and film crews that have been out here and all the famous scenes that have been shot all throughout this area. And we were riding by them and probably had no idea what we were riding by. And it's just so cool that we're basically camping in a Hollywood film set. How many times in your life can you say that? Alright, tonight we're watching Django Unchained, cause shocker, someone's never seen it.
Whoops.
And it was filmed right out here.
We had an amazing night out here. Unfortunately, it was a bit too cloudy to see the stars, but this morning we were treated to a beautiful sunrise. I think the sunrises are my favorite part about being in the Eastern Sierra because you get to watch the mountains go from dark to a pink color to then glowing. It is just so magical out here, and I am so happy that we finally got to experience it.
We're gonna spend the next couple days camping and working out here, and then we're off to our 50th and 51st national parks, Sequoia and Kings Canyon.
My mouth is so dry from all of the wind. My lips and just my gums, everything's stuck. I can barely talk.
I am Iron Man.